Yeah, the asymmetry, the double standards are pretty blatant here. I mean, to ask him about healthcare, and he's working on a concept of a plan, right? I mean, this is just gibbering nonsense. And just to step back a little bit, I'm old enough to remember when Joe Biden's fitness for office, being too old, his cognitive decline was a major issue. What are we seeing from Donald Trump on a daily basis? If that was a major issue in 2024, when did it stop being a major issue when Donald Trump continues to do this? Also, you're right about his complete lack of specificity or knowledge or interest in policy. It's on display all the time, and yet we do have the media trying to figure out how do we cover this race. And part of the problem is that this is not a normal race. This is not a normal race that pits a normal Democrat against a normal Republican, and they're going to debate liberal versus conservative policies. We are dealing with Donald Trump, and there's nothing I can tell you about Donald Trump that we have not said 100 times. But trying to pretend that this is a normal candidate who is, talking about immigration, that he's talking about healthcare, or he's talking about outsourcing. He has no interest in those things. We know what he is doing. You mentioned before that Donald Trump lies, and then he lies about his lies. I think the big question is whether or not his supporters have gotten to the point where they just don't care anymore. I'm not sure that that's the case of a majority of Americans. But he not only lies, but I think that you have, and this is a dangerous moment. What happens when the American people understand that they're being lied to and they don't care that they're being lied to? Donald Trump is making the calculation that he doesn't have to talk about policy, that he doesn't have to be coherent, that he doesn't have to be decent, that all he has to do is throw out his various versions of reality, and somehow that's going to be enough. And again, this election is going to tell us a lot more about the American people than it is about Donald Trump.